Good morning, fellow peeps and folks. I'm Allie, and today we are checking out the RWBY Volume 8 OST. Yeah, I'm sorry it took some time, but I did say I would do it after the 12th season of Red vs. Blue, and I am. And it's still before Volume 9 starts. We don't know when that will be. We haven't really got a release date yet. But yeah, this is the soundtrack. This is, you know, full songs and all that jazz. Well, not much jazz, I think. I don't remember. But yeah. Usually in those soundtracks I did 2 parts. And those parts usually had 4 to 5 songs in them. I don't know, sometimes 3, but usually 4 songs. Which made it clear that 2 parts were the best way to go about it. This only has 6 songs. I mean, okay, if we count Awake, it has 7. But I'm not counting Awake because I don't know if I will analyze Awake because it has only been a song that they've just used, and you know, it's capturing Cinder's mood, but it's not written specifically for the show, so no need to analyze lyrics, to be honest. And the truth, the 4th song is pretty short. Not even a minute, and I think that's because it's only the part that we actually know. That's also the Cinder song part thing. I've heard that there's a lot of disappointment about it, and please let's not give any crap to Jeff Williams, Casey Lee Williams, and everyone who's worked on this, because hard times. People need time to recuperate, to deal with things as they are right now, and honestly I do have to deal with things today too. But yeah, I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to enjoy the songs we get. And I will probably only do 1 part because it's, you know, it's maybe gonna be a little bit longer, but I don't see the sense in cutting in between some of those songs just to have 2 videos. It's probably just gonna be 1 really long one. But yeah, why don't we just jump into the first one, which is For Every Life. I did hope that they would choose for a title, you know, like, I called it Never Happy Again in my brain ever since the intro came out, because it's the words. But yeah, For Every Life, and it's 4 minutes 23 seconds long, so yeah. It's definitely a full song, and it's gonna be interesting to see what we'll have in the lyrics. So let me start the recording of the screen so that I can pause if I want to. But yeah, I am using the videos from Sirs and Madams Entertainment. A group of great guys and girls, well, you know, who do music stuff. Check them out if you haven't already, or their Discord server. I'm there too. Not that active, but you did good work. I mean, I hope, because I'm using your videos. But yeah, nothing fancy, just, you know, the soundtrack cover and the lyrics side by side, and the lyrics is everything we need. So, For Every Life. Let's start in 3, 2, 1, and go. Yep, we know that part. We said goodbye to all the things we loved. Gave up our lives just to find that it was not enough. We left in faith, left unsolid to our carefree peace. What we thought would change the world was just a childish dream. We failed to stop our own demise, the tragic ends before our eyes. Hope has no place here. Maybe the path that leads away home will finally clear. Maybe the end we tried to avoid is already here. Some roses will never bloom. Some dreams will rot on the vine. Some lives will end much too soon. Some people will never ever die. Some wars will not end in peace. Some heroes choose the wrong side. Sometimes it's worth it all, the rest the fall. Fight for every love. We tried to
Ooh, already.
defeat the hate through love.
Of course we did.
Keep hope alive, trust our
Trust,
hearts and
yeah.
somehow survive. We sacrificed, pledged our souls and gave up everything.
Yep.
In the end, there's only failure.
Yep, we're getting dark.
Our plans of triumph torn apart in endless sea of broken hearts.
Strength's not victory. Okay, I see that.
The end of the tale is worse than we feared. All that remains collapsed in the void, drowning in tears.
We're going very metaphorical and, you know, void. A little literal.
Some dreams will rot on the vine. Some lives will end much too soon. Some people will never ever die. Some wars will not end in peace. Some heroes choose the wrong side. Sometimes it's worth it all, the rest the fall and fight for everything we love, for all we've ever.
The drums in the back going crazy.
It's just fantasy, a foolish goal we can't achieve. This battle's nearly end. It's faster every day. The path to victory fades away. The pain is drawing near. Will this be the day?
Will this be the day?
That we always
Okay, okay. Nice line to catch up with everything we've had before, you know? Yeah, there's a lot of callbacks to previous songs, of course. I mean, we've had that in the other, especially intros. Like, especially intros had callbacks to previous intros, or, you know, just previous songs in general. What would be a song, or an intro song, without a solo, right?
dreams will rot on the vine. Some lives will end much too soon. Some people will never ever die. Some wars will not end in peace. Some heroes choose the wrong side. Sometimes it's worth it all, the rest to fall and fight for every love.
Alright, and that's the song. And before it goes away, I'm just using this video to go through the lyrics. So, first of all, yeah, it was pretty much like I imagined. No real surprises, because, you know, okay, second verse is gonna be much like the first verse with just different lyrics. And, you know, the bridge was not the most surprising thing,
you know, it had a different melody like we are used to. It didn't shock me as much as, for example, with Rise. Because, you know, with Rise I was just like, oh, okay, we're going there right now. Here it was a little bit more tamed, even though it's still dark. So let's go through the lyrics. We said goodbye to all the things we loved. Of course, a reference to time to say goodbye to the things we love and the innocence of youth. Gave up our lives just to find that it was not enough. So we're having a lot of, you know, giving up something, sacrificing something in this song, I've noticed. You know, having them realize the point of sacrifice. And, you know, even the song Sacrifice. Yes, it's from none of the girls' perspective. It's none of the kids. But they're slowly realizing the point that the song Sacrifice is trying to make. We leapt in faith. Yep. Left our solitude, our carefree peace. What we thought would change the world was just a childish dream. Yeah. I don't think it's a direct reference to anything, but, you know, just having them be like, oh, yeah, they were children. They were having hope. And then we have the interesting part that gets very, I don't know the word, but, you know, very interesting rhythm-wise. This was stuff, we failed to stop our own demise, the tragic ends before our eyes. It's very interesting to listen to, like that. I think that's like technically my favorite part of the song. We have that again with the other verse, so yep. We failed to stop our own demise, which is dark, tragic end. Hope has no place here. Yes, they are realizing hope is not the way to go right now. Maybe the path that leads away home will finally clear. We've had songs like Our Way, doing something our way, and we've had songs like Home. So, you know, maybe this way to do it, but still remain in a place that we can feel comfortable. Well, but maybe also the end we try to avoid is already here. I like that line from the very beginning, I think, because, you know, I often write in my stories about, you know, I know prophecies are overdone for some people, but I like to revert prophecies and to make them ambiguous enough to have people guessing, and have some characters and even, you know, the readers sometimes think, okay, maybe prophecies are just self-fulfilling. Maybe we hear about the bad stuff and we want to change it, we want to avoid it. But while avoiding it, while trying to get rid of this prophecy, we actually fulfill it. It's actually already there. We're actually helping it to happen. Which is what this line kind of makes me think of. Alright. Some roses will never bloom. Yep. Of course, referencing Ruby Rose and, you know, all the lines we've had before about roses. Dreams will rot on the vine. Rip vine. Some lives will end much too soon. Yeah. So some people died. Actually, a lot of named characters died this volume. Like, none of the main characters, of course. It's not... It's not like Pyrrha. The thing is, Penny happened again, but that was too... Well, it was a shock at some point, but later you were like, yeah, it was kind of meant to happen, so... But we're having a friend at the end again, which I did listen to a lot of times already because it was the only full song out. I mean, except for The Truth, but that's another story altogether. But yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Some evil will never ever die, Salem. Some wars will not end in peace. Yeah, sometimes you just have a war that just breeds more war and then everyone's dead. Fun. Some heroes choose the wrong side. Sometimes it's worth it all to risk the fall and fight for every life. So the some heroes choose the wrong side could refer to multiple things. It could actually refer to both sides. It could refer to the Ironwood dilemma we had about, oh, he was technically a hero, he was trying to do the best for the people, well, the best for Atlas at least, but in his old descent, he chose the wrong side at some point. But it could also be a little bit different. We could talk about, for example, Emerald here. In the end, she, you know, she chose to be a hero, but beforehand she did choose the wrong side. But it's more on a positive note that, you know, someone who's on the other side can still realize they might be the hero. Yeah, to risk the fall. Of course, we're falling at the end. Okay, so text we didn't have yet. Lyrics. We tried to rise, defeat the hate through love. Of course, rise, rising like the moon. Rising like the moon. And, you know, the whole defeating hate through love, we've had that a few times already, I think. Keep hope alive, referring to, you know, the hope has no place here. Trust our hearts, trust love, and somehow soar above. Yeah. Touch the sky, kind of. We sacrificed, talking about sacrifice again, pledged our souls and gave up everything. That's a nice line. Like, pledging gives me the feeling of, you know, knowing that you have to give your soul and your everything, and thinking you know the outcome, but you don't. You know, you pledge loyalty to someone, for example. You think, okay, if I give my loyalty to this person, they will use it well, but it could be misused. So in that case, they pledge their souls, and souls do have a pretty big meaning in Remnant, because, you know, auras are bound to the souls and all that jazz. So, yeah, just all their power, basically. Everything. But in the end, there's only failure, only suffering. Not much I have to say there. Our plans of triumph torn apart, referring to triumph. An endless sea of broken hearts. So that metaphor, okay. That is a pretty dark one. A pretty, you know, a hyperbole, if you want. Strength's not victory, of course, referring to, you know, Salem saying that there is no victory in strength. And then we go into that part again. All that remains, the end of the tale is worse than we feared. All that remains collapsed in the void, drowning in tears. So yeah, we have the void, of course. Then we have the chorus again. So instead of fight for every life, it's fight for everything we love, referring to the very beginning. For all we've ever known. So basically the whole known world will die if we don't do anything. Maybe it's just fantasy. I think we've had that in Trust Love, right? Did we have that in Trust Love? I think we did. You know, with fantasy and reality. A foolish goal we can't achieve. Yeah. the battles near the end were falling faster every day, having the image of falling again. I've seen the official art for Volume 9, because we've had that already. And yeah, falling seems to be a pretty big picture here. Of course. The finish drawing near. Will this be the day that we always feared? Referring to the very, very, very first intro song we've had. This will be the day we've waited for. But in that case, it's the day we've always feared. Having the fear that's this topic of things that are pretty negative. Again, in this. Have you waited for this? Or have you feared that it might come? We'll never know. So then we have the instrumental and the chorus again. So yeah, like I thought, a lot of references to other songs. A lot of them. Especially other intro songs, but also like a few others. Very metaphorical. I like metaphors, so you can give me metaphors. I mean, what they had wasn't even that cliche. Like, endless sea of broken hearts is not cliche. It's just a very exaggerated metaphor, which is, you know, sometimes you can use it if you want if you want the drama. But yeah, that was For Every Life, our opening. The next one we've had is The Sky is Falling, which I find interesting because what I noticed within the show was that the instrumentals, the what we've heard, had a very Yang feeling to it. It kind of reminded me of Ignite a little bit. So like the chorus part, if you know what I mean. Fool, you shouldn't stare into the eyes of fire. We've had that a little bit different, but I think, you know, it reminded me of it a little bit. But also The Sky is Falling, you know, we've touched the sky, and now that's falling too. Fun. And having like this burden, it creates, for me it creates a picture of just, you know, the sky being heavy, the whole burden of the world. It kind of, you know, Greek mythology Atlas vibes. Atlas, haha, you know. The titan who held up the world. Well, not the world, but the sky, you know. Being there, holding the weight of the sky all alone. And that's kind of what it makes me think about. So I like that picture going in. So The Sky is Falling, which we've had while we were chasing the hound trying to kidnap Oscar, which, you know, he did kidnap Oscar, but yeah, let's go in 3, 2, 1. All right. We're having the guitar and the drums.
Here comes another nightmare, another fever dream. The horror just won't stop in endless scream. But this is not subconscious, we're not imagining. We're wide awake, this is reality.
Yeah, we know that part.
Lost without a soul, losing all control, not getting closer. Every day is just another dose of torture.
Yeah, we're getting back in this zone.
Across the races, lost this nightmares are real life. Better cover up your eyes, my friend, the sky is falling. Get over the ruin of our lives. Be prepared.
totally new things. What's the second verse? No sudden death. Ouch. Ouch. Alright. And the chorus again. Yep. Alright. And I think outside, just, you know, an ambulance is doing their
Lost
thing.
all my hopes and dreams. Watch my life flash by in scenes, and it seems there's no soul on the video screen. But I'm green, trying to figure out what all of it means. Staring at the casket, hoping to move past it, knowing things will never be the same. And that's it. Close soaked as I stand in the rain, feeling nothing but pain until I see you again. Feel the waves crash loud and hard. Oh God, lost control. I think I'm gonna lose it. All my sanity's slipping away. Oh Lord, press record. I die without the music. Each breath is closer to my
Alright.
death. Accept that which is this life, is none left. Let my demons live, going through my legacy. Study my pedigree. I need therapy.
Okay! I need therapy, apparently. Okay, I didn't actually notice that Lamar Hall was doing stuff again in this song. I didn't look at that. But, okay. All the more surprise. I think this part is very interesting because this is very slow. The lyrics are very, very slow compared to the music. We have a... no, not the Be Strong and Hit stuff, not yet. Sorry, Nora. But yeah, what I wanted to say is that this last part of the chorus, the lyrics are very slow, even though the music is still pumping, basically. And it's very interesting to have that difference there. It sounds pained a little bit, you know, not in a bad way, but like it gives the emotion off. But yeah, I don't really have to say much for the verses because, you know, another nightmare, another fever dream, the horror just won't stop, an endless scream. It's just like, yeah, things are bad. This is not subconscious, we're not imagining, we're wide awake, this is reality. So this is an interesting part because it's like telling us, hey, all those metaphors, you know, those aren't actually metaphors, they're meant literally. That's kind of the message I'm getting there. This is not a dream and this is not a metaphor, this is just happening right now. World's lost without a soul, because every soul has been given up, you know. Losing all control, yep, not getting closer. So losing control can mean multiple things, which I find very interesting too, because I have like two ways in my mind right now, and one of them, which I used in a song I wrote myself, is losing control of like your abilities, your powers, what you can do, and, you know, hurting someone in the process and being like, oh shit, I just lost control, I did something I shouldn't have done. Like having, you know, raging without knowing what to do. But I think this is the second one. We're losing our control in case of actual control, not on themselves, but on the world, so it goes outward. They're losing the control of the situation. Which is also a very interesting standpoint there. It's not what they do themselves, because with themselves, they're kind of happy with themselves at this point. We've had Touch the Sky, for example, in the last volume, where they're like, okay, yeah, I still have a few kinks to work out, but honestly, I'm a better person than I was before. And yes, we're having problems in Volume 8 again, but I do think, you know, that they realize that they've developed themselves. The problem is not exerting that control on the world. Even though they've changed, it doesn't matter because they can't do anything about, like, the whole situation. They're not getting closer. Every day is just another dose of torture. Yay! Okay, now we pay the cost. The race is lost. The race against the Hound, apparently. This nightmare's our real life. It's just the same thing over and over again. Better cover up your eyes, my friend. The sky is falling. Can't outrun the ruin of our lives. So yeah, I mean, Atlas Falling obviously is a very literal answer to this song at some point. But I find it interesting that you say, hey, better cover up your eyes. Don't make yourself see this. Because it's that bad that normal people can't endure that. It's just, you know, the need to cover up the eyes just says how bad it is really. The ruin of our lives, yeah. Prepared, we're near the end. The final days are calling. Hold on, now the sky's falling down. Yeah, so, next verse. What do we get? Curse that's never ending, pathless no escape. Just like we had before, but the no sudden death, it just, you know, we're trapped in slow decay. That made me think for a moment, because that's harsh, you know? Because you always think of, oh, I'm sacrificing stuff. There's people who die for this cause. You always think of quick things. You think of someone being struck down, someone falling, someone, you know, giving up. But here we're kind of having this slow decay. It's happening slowly. It's not and happening, you know? Which makes it even worse, because if you're like me, a slow coming death gets me a lot. Like, yes, fast is shocking, of course, if you do it right. But if it has been coming for quite a while now, it's just, it hits different. You know? Words are not symbolic. Yeah. It's the same as before. Eternal enemy, of course. Or fate is sealed. They cannot do anything anymore. At least they feel like they cannot do anything anymore. Further down the hole. Yeah, it's pretty much just extreme, extreme, extreme. As evil wins. Yep. Misery steals our alive. It's pretty much the same. And now, going into the Lamar Hall rap part. Lost all my hopes and dreams. Watch my life flash by in scenes. Like, you know, they say it happens. It seems there is no soul on the video screen, which I find very interesting because this is very meta. This is out of show. The video screen, yeah, of course they do have scrolls, they do have technology there, but it feels more like Lamar Hall is singing, rapping from an outside perspective, from the perspective of us, the one who's watching. no soul on the video screen. All the characters have given up already. I'm green trying to figure out what all of it means. Us people trying to analyze everything. I feel called out. Staring at the casket, hoping to move past it, knowing things will never be the same and that's it. Yeah, I mean, we know that things will never be the same again. Cold soaked as I'm standing in rain, feeling nothing but pain until I see you again. Whoa. Feel the waves Feel the waves crash loud and hard. Oh god, lost control, the losing control again. But I think here's more the personal control. I'm losing control of my mind, my sanity. I failed my Cthulhu sanity roll. Basically, I think I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna go insane. All my sanity slipping away. Oh lord, press record. I'd die without the music. So that could mean a lot. That could really mean a lot. It could be the personal connection to music in general. Be like, okay, that's my only comfort in these times. It could be a reference to just, you know, this soundtrack. You know, everything's bad right now. Let me listen to a kick-ass song instead. It could also mean something else, but those are like the ones that I'm like, it would be interesting. Then each breath is closer to my death. Of course it is. I mean, yeah, of course it is. That's a very negative way to say something that's just simply true. Because, yeah. Except that which is this life, there's none left. Welp. I'll let my demons live on through my legacy, study my pedigree. I need therapy. And that last line is just too real. It's just, you know, telling it as it is. We all need therapy after this. And then we got the chorus again. So, yeah, I think actually Lamar's part was the most interesting to analyze. Because, yeah, like, everything's negative. Fine. But this... I don't know if they meant it that way, of course I don't. I can only say how it feels to me. This outside perspective we're getting, this, you know, the watcher's perspective, us having to react to this, as being like, oh, we're way too attached to those characters, to those storylines. I think we need therapy. And if this therapy is, you know, listening to the songs for ourselves, or doing something completely different. Or if the show itself is therapy in some way for us. You know, then everything. It might be everything. So, yeah. The next one is... Nope. I don't want to start already. Please don't start already. Blah. Okay, the next one is Be Strong and Hit Stuff. Of course, referring to what Nora said about she doesn't know what she is on her own. Is she just, you know, supposed to be strong and to hit stuff? The few parts of her personality she can name, she can actually put a label on. And just, you know, recapturing what we've had in that last volume. Of course, the volume beforehand, we've had... you know, Ren and Nora finally kind of acknowledging their feelings to one another. That happened. Having Let's Get Real as a song, being like, okay, things are happening right now. But I really liked how they, you know, they've had this fight, basically. They kind of went their own ways to, you know, realize who they are. They both did in some way. Like, Ren found a different, you know, application of a semblance. It got a little stronger and helped a lot. While Nora was like, okay, I need to figure out who I am first. And I think like, a lot of people do have that problem at some point. I'm just, you know, thinking of people in my life when I'm like, how often do they ask themselves who they would be without, you know, some other person in their life? It's a very interesting thing to think about, because you're like, you only know yourself in connection to other people, because, you know, not only, but usually, because you know how you act towards them, you know how they act towards you, you know your dynamic, and you can put a label on it. You can say, hey, we're friends, or we're more, or we're just acquaintances. But for yourself, it's way more difficult. And I can just see that, you know, you can't just say, oh, I'm this, this, and this trait. It's not as easy as building an actual character, a fictional one, because people are so weird. So I do like the topic, and I hope they do, I don't know, either this actually, you know, goes into that topic deeply, or it's just a kick-ass song. I hope we're going to that topic deeply. So let's start in 3, 2, 1, and go. A little bit different style here in the beginning. What does this remind me of?
No one's gonna break your heart with you. No one in this world is ever gonna have the strength it takes, the force to make the pride to take you down. Ain't nobody doubting you but you. Ain't nobody who don't believe in your greatness. We see what you're facing.
All right.
It's just to see but you're more every day. Waiting is all the pain you faced is no disgrace. You're made from all those colors.
I like that line.
In time you will grow, but that doesn't mean you're not already whole. Mistakes that you've made will stay in the past. Redemption is yours if you follow that path. Oh, just hold on, stay tough, be strong and take steps.
Yep, that was the part we seen in the fight against Ironwood. Yeah, nice personal stuff. We can analyze through those lyrics. Yep.
Picture if you can a younger you. Think about a little soul would feel if they could see you. There's no doubt that y'all would try.
Oh, that's cute and wholesome.
Whatever dreamed you'd be, but sometimes we get caught in the trap where we can't see our own strengths and beauty. We're led astray. We're cruel to ourselves and the glow fades away.
And sad.
It's what we're not. Why don't we fill our heads with doubt instead of joy for all?
Because that's how people are. That's how people just are. Okay, I like that song a lot already. Just, I like it because it's wholesome and sad, but in a good way. Yeah, I think from the songs we've had, you know, it's only the third song, but from those songs we've had for now, this has gotten the most emotions out of me right now.
There's no need to wish upon a star. Just open your eyes to who you are. The path to yourself is never clear. When you're lost, you grow and have no fear. You'll reappear. Rise up from your darkest day. Look at yourself and say, it's okay.
It's okay.
In time you will grow.
I have so much to say to that.
But that
Maybe I will do 2 parts. Well, it's only the truth, present friend. Depends how long I will save and talk about this. Instrumental. All right. That was a little almost ominous. But yeah, wow. Okay, maybe I'm thinking, I mean, I'm already like 45 minutes in. Maybe I will split this in 2 parts. Because I know I'm going to talk a lot about this song. Yeah, okay. So, like I said before, I do think that this is the song that, for this soundtrack, for those 3 that we've had until now, has gotten the most emotion out of me. Because it's so personal, but not in a way, you know, that's too specific, but like, it's like a general sentiment that a lot of people probably have, if not everyone. Well, maybe not everyone, but a lot. So, yeah. I mean, in the show we've had the chorus. We haven't had the verses, so let's look at those verses. No one's gonna break your heart but you. Which is already a strong line, because it's like, you know, other people, yeah, they could break your heart, but honestly, only if you let them. Only you can decide how you feel. No one in this world is ever gonna have the strength it takes, the force to make the power to take you down. It's just this, it tells us, hey, things may happen, bad things happen, and not like RWBY, World of Remnant bad things, Salem being all over the world. Just bad things in general in real life. I think what I like about the song is that it has an application to us, to everyone who's listening to the song, and doesn't, you know, I love when RWBY songs are specific to the world, of course, but I also love when they do have a relevance in the show, but also to like us ourselves, and this song does, because, you know, only we can decide when to give up. Yes, there's going to be external factors, but in the end, it's our decision. Okay, you know, of course, it's a very idealized way of seeing it, because sometimes the external factors are so much that, you know, it seems like there's no other way, and like, we have trauma, we have like people who suffer from abuse, all that. I'm not gonna go deeper into this because I don't want to trigger anyone. So there's not always the way, but I like that this has like the positive connotation. You know, this is for problems that are bad for oneself, are personal problems that factor into how we see the world, how we see ourselves, and, you know, how we can overcome it. Ain't nobody doubting you but you. Ain't nobody who don't believe in your greatness. We see what your fate is. That's a thing that I notice a lot. People being like, hey, you're great at what you're doing. Don't doubt yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. But, you know, you yourself are always going to be hard on you. You're your own worst critic, basically. And
I mean, other people always, well, not always, sometimes they hate you, but people who are close to us and who actually care about us usually see our better sides. And they know that this is just us. That's okay. But yeah. You're on your way, of course. Their own personal way. It's tough to see, but you're more every day, which I like because every day we accumulate more experiences, we see more of the world, we try more, we do more, and that just makes us more in a case of we are the embodiment of everything we've been through and everything we've done so far. Even if it's just, you know, a lazy day, it's still part of ourselves. The waiting is hard. All the pain you've faced is no disgrace, you're made from all the scars. That's what I was saying, like everything we've endured is part of us. Which I find very interesting in regards to what I've had yesterday in a D&D session that I'm DMing actually, of a character locking away part of their memories. And being a different person through that. Because all those memories, even the bad ones, especially the bad ones, do make us who we are. And of course, in the show we have Nora having now probably permanent scars because of what she's done. And she might regret it at some point, or she might be happy that she did it. But those scars will just stay with her now. And it's part of who she is. And that decision is part of who she is. Alright. And then we have, it's okay, in time you will grow, but that doesn't mean you're not already whole. I like this line very much because it says, hey, yeah, character development, basically. There's always room to get better, to grow, to improve. But improving ourselves doesn't mean that, you know, there's the end goal of being finally the person you need to be. It's more like you are already the person you need to be right now. But you always have room to improve. You're yourself the whole way through. And yeah, it's kind of reassuring to hear that from an outer perspective. It's kind of a thing where sometimes you say to yourself, hey, I gotta change that or I'm not myself. Well, no, you're still yourself. Just, you can be a better version of you in your eyes if you want to be. It still makes you you. So, mistakes that you've made will stay in the past. So, yeah. But even if it makes you you, what you did, it's still the past. It's accumulative. Wow, that word. I've written it a lot, but, you know, saying it is a different thing. Things happened, and you're a different person because of it. You learn from your mistakes. You experience stuff. But that doesn't mean that it has to be the same thing in the past as in the present. Things change, and that's the whole point, you know? The mistakes will stay in the past, but you will still learn from it. It's still there. But it's not something you have to be reminded of every second of your life. You know, you've grown yourself, and, you know, what you are at that moment is the result of mistakes you might have made. Doesn't mean you have to remind yourself of those mistakes every time. Redemption is yours if you follow that path. So it might be a reference to, you know, that Emerald chose that moment to redeem herself too. But it's like what I said, you can change yourself. You can grow to be a better version of yourself. If you want to. if you do follow that path, if you do stuff to get better. Yeah, hold on, stay tough, be strong and hit stuff. That's actually the line that I have to say the least about. Because I already said stuff. Okay. Picture, if you can, a younger you. I like how it kind of gets us to imagine it ourselves, you know. A younger you. Just think about how you were a few years ago. Think of how that little soul would feel if they could see you. Just think about if a version of you who's younger, who hasn't lived through the last few years, looks at you, what would they think? You know, even if you're in a worse situation than you were, for example, they would still see how you've grown. They would say, oh my gosh, I want to be that person. Probably. I mean, of course, there are always negative things, you know, you could always regress a little bit. But I feel like in most cases, it would just be like, wow, you've improved so much. I've improved so much. You know, and it doesn't matter how you got there. Well, it does, but not in a was it worth it kind of way, because it is. But yeah, it's kind of like the looking at something you did a few years ago, like a drawing or some writing or whatever project you were sitting on a few years ago, and then compare it to something you're doing right now. And even though you might not be happy with it like you're doing it right now, you can usually see the improvement. Sometimes when I take something I wrote a few years ago, I'm like, oh gosh, how bad was that? But just thinking, oh, that was bad in comparison to what I do now, makes me know, you know, I know that I've improved in that case. And I think that's the sentiment we're getting here. Like just, you know, no matter what happened, you've improved, you've grown. Sometimes we get caught in the trap where we can't see our own strength and beauty. Yes, that's the thing. We're our worst critic. We don't see it sometimes. We need someone else to tell you first. We're led astray. We're cruel to ourselves and the glow fades away. All we see is what we're not. Why do we fill our heads with doubt instead of joy for all we've got? Yep. And this is basically, you know, the thing of not having the right perspective to see it sometimes. Picturing something you did beforehand and now seeing how you've improved is definitely one of the best ways to see, oh, yeah, there has been a change, actually. But sometimes you need an outer perspective, people who tell you, wow, you've really improved on that. And I honestly think someone telling me that I've gotten better at something, or that, you know, they like how I've grown or something, is a compliment that means so much more to me than someone just saying, hey, you're talented or something. I don't know. Maybe it's just a personal aversion to someone saying, oh, it's talent. I really do care more about, oh, you've put so much work into it. That's great. It really paid off. And this is kind of the thing. If someone tells you, wow, all that stuff you did, all that negative stuff you've endured all this time finally paid off, and you can see something positive coming out of it, even if it's just, you know, yourself developing a different part of your personality, or, you know, being more confident, or speaking up for yourself. It could be anything, really. But if someone tells you, hey, I've noticed that this changed about you, and I like it, I think that gives us a very valid feeling. Just in general. I mean, people could work differently. Maybe it's just me. But having all this be acknowledged, what we've been through, I think is one of the best feelings in the world. And then we have the bridge. There's no need to wish upon a star, of course, having... Oh gosh, right, Friend is Still Coming, where we also have the wishing upon a star or stuff. Getting the Disney vibes here. Just open your eyes to who you are. Yep, just realizing the path to yourself is never clear. Like I said right in the beginning, like it's way more difficult to define yourself by your own traits. When you're lost, you're growing, have no fear. This is like even if negative things happen, something good can come out of it. You'll reappear and rise up from your darkest day, look at yourself and say, it's okay. Yeah. It's like I think that's actually one of those moments where you realize it the most. When you've been through a rough patch and you finally pull yourself out of it and you're like, wow. That moment where you're like realizing what you've been through, how you've changed because of it, and you're like, okay, if I can do that, I can do anything, basically. Well, maybe not, but it's this feeling of, yeah, it was worth it at some point. So, just ending this off, I've talked about it long again, and I'm over an hour now with this video, which means, yes, I will probably cut this in two. I didn't think I would talk so much about the song, but it goes very personal, and yeah, I think it's my favorite of those three at this point. Well, I don't think it, I know it. It's my favorite of those, because it's just very personal and hit close to home, basically. It's not just about Nora feeling like she has to recognize herself first. It's about all of us being like, okay, I gotta acknowledge that I've grown and that things might have been hard, but I've come out of it a better person. Also, you know, to understand others, you first gotta understand yourself, which I find is a very fitting line here. Yeah, already, again, thinking about the D&D stuff. I don't know, I just have the most experience with the character development there, because you can see it so well in the characters of the other people. And, you know, we've had the line of you first gotta know your own mind before you can try to look into the minds of others. So I think that captures that sentiment. And with that, I think I'm gonna end this video, and I'm gonna put a notice at the beginning that I decided to cut it into halves anyway. But yeah, The Truth, Treasure, and Friend will be next, and probably next week then. So yeah, I hope you had fun listening to me spout out nonsense about lyrics. But yeah, on this note, have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!